I just got to move on. Right at first sight, season 13. Move along, please. You have just got to move on. Because this season, throw it away, and give me another season. Because Married at First Sight season 13, what in the world, girl? Cuz, good morning. It's Thursday. I missed you guys last night, but guess what? I have NaNoWriMo coming up. And I'm so super excited. But I missed you guys doing the live watch. So I watched some of it last night and took my notes and watched the rest of it this morning, took my notes. So I'm going to do a really quick rundown because it's 7 a.m. in the morning. Got to get my little one ready for school. And then I'm going to come back throughout the week and make a couple of videos. Not as much videos as I used to make because NaNoWriMo begins Monday. Yes, November 1st. Thank you for your love and your support. Thank you for showing me love. Thank you for those Cash App. Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate all of you who blessed me for my birthday. I thank you for everything you have done for me. Thank you for those comments. I know. I have not been in the comments section, but I'm going to get to it next week, okay? Because I'm on vacation next week. So, did you watch Married at First Sight last night? Oh, what are your thoughts? I was like, MICHEALA, I am trying to be supportive, okay? Because I really do believe MICHEALA has some issues that need experts' help. And so I have been trying this whole season, you know, especially since she walked through the tables and all, I've been trying to, you know, not to talk about it too much because I do believe MICHEALA needs some help. But MICHEALA, when you said last night, Zach has no evidence of you. Let me say her right. I don't want to say something she didn't say. Because, you know, I think it's a sensitive issues. MICHEALA, when you said, and I'm trying to get the picture up, Lord, gee, my little boy climbing on the closet. When you said Zach has no evidence of you reacting in a bad way to him, MICHEALA, girl, I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to be supportive, but I cannot be supportive of you if you're going to lie. And when I say supportive, what I mean is I think MICHEALA needs to see a doctor. I just don't think those behaviors are normal. I think there is something else going on. And I think MICHEALA needs to goes talk to her doctor. Okay? And that's what I mean about supportive. I'm not supportive of her bad behavior. I am just saying, you know what, MICHEALA, you need some help. And I'm supportive of you going to get some help and going to even your primary care doctor. I think this is very important for us to talk about. Even when you go see your primary care doctor will ask you, how have you been feeling? Have you been feeling depressed? Have you been having panic attacks? She claims it's panic attacks. I don't know. That's what she said. You know, I don't, you know, I'm not an expert in that field. Neither have I had panic attacks like that I'm, you know, I just don't know. So the people in the comments that are experts, you can go ahead and help me. But MICHEALA, what do you mean he has no evidence of you reacting in a bad way to him? Unless she blacked out. Do you think, guys, MICHEALA blacked out for her to say, Zach has no evidence of you acting bad? I cannot. But anyways, thank you again for your love. Thank you for those reviews on my books. My new book is coming out very soon. My new journal that should have been out for my birthday. But, sorry, I was sure that picture. But because I've been super busy preparing for NaNoWriMo, but I'm going to get that out to you as soon as possible. You should probably have it available by the middle of November, ending of November, definitely by Thanksgiving. You will be able to pre-order. And the book I am working on for NaNoWriMo, I want to have that out by Valentine's Day. Okay. All right. So I have my notes. Let's run through this really quick. This is usually one of my favorite episodes because we get to see where the cast, he looks so pretty, the cast comes from. Okay, excuse me. So couples return from their trip. Bao says she feels good about the trip as far as trying to fix things with Johnny. She was like, you know what? We didn't interact. Have you ever felt like that? That the best way for you not to deal with a person is not interact with them. So Bao asked Johnny how he liked the weekend. And he said it was okay. You know, then he kind of walked out and went to shower. And I don't know if it's me, but have you guys noticed that Bao always take the lead? And maybe that's why Johnny is not interested in taking the lead. So ladies, that's something you need to pay attention to when you're dating. Do you always have to take the lead? If you always have to take the lead, leave, okay? If you always got to take the lead, honey, in a conversation, then leave. Because that will be your marriage. Bao says in her voiceover that they're on, level 1 conversation, and she's had level 3 conversation with strangers she's met on an airplane. I don't know, level 1, level 2. I just cannot with her. Okay. Zach hasn't said he hasn't spoken to MICHEALA. He no longer wanted to do this with her. Thank you, Zach, because usually it's the woman that's say, you know what, I've had it, I'm out. But now I'm glad that a man is walking away, because I just do not believe MICHEALA should be in a marriage. I think MICHEALA needs to, go see a doctor. And they will decide if she needs to go in inpatient service, outpatient service, but she needs something. Okay. So Dr. Pepper comes over. Wait a minute, I lost my spot. So Zach is going to meet, Zach and MICHEALA. The couples are also meeting with Dr. Pepper. So Zach is meeting with Dr. Pepper, and he said, I want to talk to her first by myself, because he really wanted to tell her what's going on. And so he said when they had the conversation on the couch, with her in the pink dress where she got up and ran away, I don't have that screenshot. He said at that moment, he realized he didn't want to do that with her. Because if you remember last week, he said, and this is what I don't like about her reaction, just the way she react. And he doesn't like her reaction. And so Dr. Pepper, she says, I love Dr. Pepper. Sometimes she gets on my nerves. Okay. So she says, but what I want to see if there can be some learning. Learning about what, Dr. Pepper? The lady, MICHEALA, was flipping tables out. And you know what I believe? I think she's been physical with him. I really do believe it. Okay. And so something interesting Zach said. He said, you know what? I call my ex-girlfriends and everyone and ask them, how do I handle conflict? And every one of them says, you avoid conflict. I sort of kind of have a problem with that, because conflicts is going to come in marriages. But I think it's important how you resolve the conflict. Dr. Pepper want them to talk and hear each other, and that's very important, right? Because as marriage couples, we don't hear each other. We're yelling, we're screaming, we're angry, we're upset. And Zach said, you know what? Well, I'm not ready for that. Dr. Pepper said, well, talk to me and I'll talk to her. Now, this is something good that my marriage counselor does. Janice, tell Mike what you say. Mike, I am upset that you did not buy me Tops chicken, Tops fried chicken. Marriage counselor saying, Mike, tell Janice what you heard her say. Janice, you said you upset that I didn't make you some chicken. And the doctor is like, well, hold up. Now, that's not what she said. She said she's upset you didn't buy her Tops chicken. Of course, I'm using this as an example. Okay. Or another thing our marriage counselor will do is tell me, Janice, tell me what you have to say, and I'll tell Mike. And I'll say, well, Doc, I am very upset that Mike didn't buy me chicken, and I feel that he's not provided. I'm using this as an example. And even though I'm using this as an example, I guarantee you somebody's going to say something about it in the comment section. And then I'm going to block you, okay? Mike, Janice said she is upset you did not buy her Tops chicken, and it makes her feel that you are not providing for her. This way, it's not me and him talking and we're yelling and screaming, but it's the counselor being able to say, this is what she's saying. And do you hear what I said? And explain it back to me. So I absolutely love this. And so this is something we use in the marriage counsel. So Zach kind of agrees. So then she talked to MICHEALA, comes in, and MICHEALA said, Zach left me. And Dr. Pepper said, when did he do that? At the retreat. And she said, yeah, at the retreat. And she says, you know, I have abandonment issues. So MICHEALA, if you have abandonment issues, when are you going to get over the abandonment issues? Because you cannot continue to ride this clutch. You're 30 years old. You're 30. At some point, ladies, you need to have gotten over your issues. At some point, you have to get to the place where those things do not trigger you and they are not running and ruining your lives. Because every time something happens, she's going to say, you know, I have abandonment issues. And so even if Zach leaves to go outside to sit on the steps or walk around the block because he's going to blow off some fuse, she's going to cry, you know I have abandonment issues, and you leave me. You left me. And she got, MICHEALA, she got a lot of problems, okay? And so Dr. Pepper translated what MICHEALA said to Zach, which I don't think she necessarily needs to say that because we can all hear loud and clear what MICHEALA is saying. And so Dr. Pepper asked Zach, what is your response? And Zach said, I don't have anything to say right now. And I really appreciate him saying that. Dr. Pepper then says, MICHEALA, your behavior over the last few weeks, the yelling and the screaming, cussing, and high drama, Zach is not able to deal with that because he already told her. He's not able to deal with that. Zach gets up and walk out. MICHEALA says, this is a prime example of him abandoning me. I can't. I just cannot. I just cannot. He walks out and go to counseling, MICHEALA. Go to counseling, please. It's okay for him to get up and walk out. I am for getting up and walking out if it's getting too... Dr. Pepper then asks her, do you think you don't have anything to regret, you know, based on your behavior? And she said, what do you regret? And she said, MICHEALA said she regret having a panic attack. So was that a panic attack? Because if that's a panic attack, she's been having a lot of panic attacks. Because every event or experience with Zach has resulted in her having panic attacks. I don't know now. I'm just asking, okay? She said, I felt so scared, abandoned, terrified, traumatized, so mad, and hasn't had that feeling since my dad died. Now, what age did MICHEALA daddy die? She was 10. Correct me if I'm wrong, all right? Because, you know, 3 people this season have their daddy die in violent ways, okay? It's not just he was sick or he woke up and he didn't wake up. It's shot. 2 daddies were shot, I think, and 1 died in a car accident. So if your father died at 10 and you're now 30, help me out. I'm just trying to muzzle my mouth because, like I say, I feel MICHEALA needs professional help. And so I'm just trying to be careful of what I say because I do believe she needs medical help. But y'all could help me out in the comment section. Your daddy died at 10. I'm assuming you have not been to counseling because at 30, your husband getting up and leaving you and the doctor is abandoning you at 30. So she said, afraid of him leaving that equals death, and she didn't see what they talked about in the room to make him leave. So he can never leave. He has to be a prop for you at all times. I'm trying. Now, I thankfully, I have both of my parents with me. I mean, when my grandmother died, I thought I died. Oh, I wanted to die. And the only thing that kept me going was my baby. I loved my grandmother. So I don't know what it feels like. Okay. Dr. Pepper said, at this point, Zach can't cope with the mismatch on how you react. And I've been saying this all season. Mismatch of how you react. You need to work on those feelings, not projecting those of fallen relationship. Because if MICHEALA doesn't resolve these problems and take care of these problems and stop using your father as a crutch and blaming everything on your father dying, she's never going to be in a happy and fulfilling marriage and relationship, because every time something happens, she's going to say, oh, it's because my father died, which is why I act this way. So MICHEALA, what you need to do is go see a doctor and a counselor to help you to deal with these issues so you don't take these in these relationships. So then the couples are visiting the halls that wrote letters to their younger selves and to be vulnerable and learning about their past. I love this. Johnny brought her to our home that he lived in a few years ago, and I thought that was really nice. I brought pictures whenever I go to Florida and I'm in that area. Me and my brothers, we always go by our childhood home. We always go by there and stand outside for the people don't call the cops and the black people standing outside in front of their house. Okay. Okay. And so I really like that him bringing the her to the childhood home. Johnny said in his voice so that he has daddy issues. Thank you for realizing that, Johnny. So now that you realize you have daddy issues, what are you going to do about it? And he said it has caused him to not have a my words firm foundation and how to be a man, how to be a husband, how to be a dad, and that has really affected him. But thank God his mother was there. His letter, he says, I love this. He says, well, you're not a billionaire. And so for those of you who've heard the rumors, that rumor alert, drop off if you don't want to hear what I'm about to say, that allegedly Johnny and MICHEALA is dating. Now, personally, I think they are a better match because they have similar lifestyle. Johnny is 35, wants to retire at 40. How many of you know he don't have $40,000 in his retirement and savings? He probably have millions of dollars, because in order to retire at 40, you have a lot of money you're sitting on. And some people are thinking, rumor, Gil says allegedly that MICHEALA is a gold digger. No, she's not a gold digger, because MICHEALA has her own over $200,000 income a year to live. So her and Johnny would match better in finances and in lifestyle. Will Johnny's parents accept the Spanish girl? I don't know. I don't know if I care. I like MICHEALA, and so I do want to see her happy. And so in his letter, he talks about his mom who gave up her life. How many of you mamas have given up your life? I did that just so that my daughter could be comfortable and grow up safe and comfortable. And so he says to himself, you need to forgive your father. And so, his father left out. He said in his letter that I don't know if I agree with it. His absence is his choice, but not his fault. What did you do, sir, to cause your marriage to fall apart? It is the daddy's fault. Unless the mama cheated, it's the daddy's fault, okay? And he said, you know what? You're not a part of a 2.5 kids family with a white picket fence, but you have a village. I love that, Johnny. I absolutely love that, though I prefer to have both. Okay, Bao asks, what was the thing that made your mom decide to leave? And Johnny tells the story of the dad going to California. Why did he move to California? Was it a job or something? Because, I told my husband, I'm just letting you know, if you move down south, I ain't coming with you, okay? And so the dad bought a beautiful home in a nice community. and tell the mom and the kids, let's start over in California. And the mama says, nope, don't you ever come back here. I'm not starting over with you. And Janice says the dad has never been back to Texas. And in his voiceover, I love something he said. You know, divorce in Asian family is embarrassing and it's looked down on, but he said it was okay to get a divorce. I'll talk about that a little bit more later. Over to Merla and Gil. Gil brought her to his projects, and he talks about how bad his project was, and somebody lived over there, and they always had to sleep with a gun. Move, okay, pack your stuff and move. And so he said, you know, we got in a lot of fights and a lot of trouble, and you play basketball. They would bend over the shopping cart and play the basketball. We can all agree, for those people who lived in not so better community, that's what you have to do if you lived in the hood, or you know, you didn't live in a community that had somewhere you could go play basketball, a safe place for you to go play basketball or whatever. And so a lot of people can say, okay, that's how, you know, I was raised. So a lot of people who, you know, just a lot of people, a lot of families were raised in the projects where you basically had to do the best you can do. And so I think a lot of people will identify with that. And then he showed her where his apartment was and where the dad was shot. He was laying on the couch. Somebody came in. The dad opened the door, and the dad closed the door and turned his back to the door. And the guy fired 6 or 7 shots, and one of the shots hit the father in the neck. He had to call the police. He was in the ambulance. It's like, you know, it really didn't make sense. He wasn't shot, basically. And he went to the hospital. About 20 minutes later, they came in and said the dad died. And he was like, oh, okay. You know, he was a child. He was 14 years old. And he said he didn't hit him until about 2 weeks later because you're in shock. And I really cannot imagine. Jose brought Rachel to one of his childhood home. I love that he said one of his childhood home. And he said, you know, their parents moved. Come on, listen, come on, mamas and daddy. The parents moved to Pearland, a better community, because they had a good school district. And how many of you mamas and daddies and parents know sometimes you might have to move to a very good school district for your kids to have a good school? That's where my dad lived. I mean, my brothers and I could count the 10 black kids in our school. I remember all of their faces, might not remember all their names. Yeah, I'm sure it was more than 10, but you know, it was. And on the school bus of 30 kids, it was me, my brother, it was Neil, his brother, and another girl. Neil was one of the boys I first had, you know, my first, you know, little crush, my second little crush. I always remember his name. And another girl. It was 5 black kids on our school bus of how many kids does a school bus hold? 30, 35, 40, I don't know. And so, you know, my dad was like, I'm going to have my kids living in the best community. This is why I could not sign up for a bum of a life. Because the life my dad provided, we didn't have name brands and stuff like that. We had clothes, we had food, but let me tell you, we lived in a very good neighborhood, and we went to one of the best schools because my dad wanted us to live in a nice community, which is why I could not marry a bum that could not afford me to live in a very good apartment, good home and community. And so I really love that about what Jose says. Rachel says, even though both parents are divorced, at least they had a good, wholesome family growing up. And I love that because that's important for us to try everything we possibly can to give our children a balanced life and a wholesome family. Goes back to your choice in a man, especially ladies, choosing a good man that you can grow with and live with and have good children and have children with and provide a good life for you, not only out in public, but at home, and go to good schools and be safe. Okay, I just don't understand why some of these women choose some of these men, because I'm like, baby, you got to sleep with a gun at your head. Don't you want better for your kids? And so they went inside the house and they look at pictures, and he pierced his own ear when he was a teen. So I love that little memory. Rachel loved all the pictures. Jose said that they were not well off, so they had rice and beans all week. Rachel said, listen, you had a nice home. For them, that was, for Rachel, it would, if you had a home, because, you know, I guess a lot of people raised in the projects and so on and so forth, but if you had a home, and see, when my brothers and I, we had a home, but the other kids that came from, you know, outside of our community, because they were really smart, and so they would come to our schools, they had to find their way to school. I don't think the bus, if I remember correctly, I don't think the bus went and picked them up. And that's one of the things they would say, you know, you guys have a home. They would come to our house across the street. There was a pool. We would go in the pool with, you know, our neighbor across the street. And so I totally agree with Rachel, especially one that you build from the home. And so Rachel said, you know, rice and beans to Jose is, you were broke and poor and you didn't have any money, but rice and beans is because it's a part of her culture. And I love that, because do you see the difference in experience? So one of the questions I would like to ask Jose, do you eat rice and beans today? Like, you know, for us from Jamaica and the Caribbean, rice and beans or rice and peas is huge. Okay, rice and peas and chicken, girl. Yes, honey. I had some on Monday. I was disappointed because my regular spot was closed and I had to go to the Caribbean restaurant. So there's a difference between Jamaican restaurant, and then Caribbean, because the Caribbean restaurant, they cook all kinds of different foods and they don't exactly get it right. Okay, so that's a good thing that Rachel said. Rachel said if they had a house, said that already, they were good. So what is Jose comparing happiness with? And I think Jose, in my mind, was comparing happiness with, maybe he didn't have, well, they didn't have the money. They had to pay the mortgage. And so, you know, even though they had a good home, he would have liked to not eat rice and beans every day. We're back over to Bo and Johnny, and Bo brought Johnny to her trailer park and shared how she grew up. That a lot of people don't know how she grew up. She had lots of fruit trees like plum and so on and so forth. And she showed him the swing. See that tree that had the swing? That was my favorite tree with the swing. And she says, you know, they showed the pictures of the trailer park, and said when the dad got it, it was already 50 years old. Lord have mercy, something like that, girl. And she said she didn't have a lot of things to do, so she would build a straw house, put her dolls in it, and burn it down. Bow is an arsonist. Okay, is that what is that? That's the word, arsonist. Okay, of course she wrote a very long letter. And she said dad was struggling with PTSD, and no one in her community knew what that was. That means they didn't go to the doctor. In their village knew, and it was certainly, her mom certainly didn't know. She said her mom was a hero. And then I got all emotional. I was like, okay, oh my God, Belle, I'm so sorry that I said you would have written us a long letter, because it was so emotional. Okay, I felt her letter. My tears came down for her because she said my mom was a hero and my mom stuck it through, you know. And so now, because he had PTSD, I'm glad that the mom stuck it through, because there's a difference between he's cheating, he's abusive, versus he's sick. And the Bible says in sickness, well, the vow says in sickness and in health. So I just do not believe that we should leave if he's sick. If he's sick and he's harming you, you leave. But if he's sick and he just needs you to stay there and help him through, then, you know, that's what the vows are for. Okay, so then Johnny says seeing his parents divorce tells him it's okay to leave, and he's walking away from a relationship and it's not fair. Now, I don't agree with that, because sometimes you do have to leave. It's just not healthy to leave. And Bao says she didn't share it with her three fiancés. You know, she's been engaged 3 times, girl. And so Bo wants to have what her parents have. No, I want a healthy, whole man. And thankfully, in 2021, there is more knowledge available in reference to PTSD and various types of sickness, so on and so forth. So Merla wanted to show Gil about volleyball. She was very athletic when she was younger. She still has on her high school jersey. That still fits. The beach looked really, 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 really happy and nice and comfortable. Of course, I'm saying it because it's fall and, because I don't like the sun. She said she wouldn't be who she was and how she grew a house to mold her, because she was athletic, so she had to have all her stuff, have your shoes, have your jacket, have everything. And so that helped her to be an organized person. And she basically said she just look at how her and her brother and her sister is, that, they're all well educated and their mom is proud of them, but because of what they went through helped them to become who they are. And I like that. That's me too. What I went through, how it helped me to be who I am. And she said her mom encouraged sports, but getting back and forth was kind of hard because they didn't have a car. And she said it molded her into being organized and to be better. All the things they accomplished has made her mom proud. And she showed pictures of her one little house. I guess this was she's in El Paso, Texas, something like that. I forgot where she grew up. And so, of course, the Dusty is laughing. You was living in a mansion. Okay. And she said, the Dusty. Now, this is what the Dusty, I told y'all he was the Dusty. Said she worked hard for the life she has and is not ashamed. But sometimes she forgets where she comes from. And he wants her to stay true to who she is. And I don't want her to forget that. What the hell? Are you her daddy, sir? Are you her daddy? She just sat there and told you that the life, how she grew up, has helped her to become. I'm going to come back and talk about the Dusty this week, okay? Dr. Pepper visits Jose and Rachel, and she says, understanding someone past can offer valuable information who they are. That is definitely true. She read Jose's signs on the fridge about what he promised to do and what not to do. She then asked Rachel, well, you don't have any signs? And she was like, no, I didn't do anything wrong. It was just a little joke, okay? And then she asked Rachel about his triggers, and she's going to say, I realize he needs space. And if he doesn't have space, then maybe he's going to do something he doesn't. And I'm like, he is not a little boy, Rachel. He's a grown ass, man, and he needs to be able to control his temper and control his behavior. And it should not be, oh, give me space or else I'm going to blow up. Okay. She said Jose wanted a modern woman, but forgot he was a traditional man. I absolutely love that, Dr. Pepper. And you are absolutely right. Okay. So maybe it's a mix between modern and traditional, because I'm like that. I'm a mix between traditional and modern. I want my husband to be the modern husband who provides and protects, so on and so forth. So Dr. Pepper said, let's talk about some secrets. Have you shared what you need to share to feel honest? So I'm guessing Dr. Pepper already know what Rachel was talking about, and she's nervous about telling him something about the night he was locked out. Dr. Pepper meets with MICHEALA and Zach, but he called and asked for a closure meeting, whatever that means. Dr. Pepper said, I have two rules. One is stay civil and don't interrupt the other. Zach said, whatever you say, I won't be upset. MICHEALA said, Zach, I find so hard and my passion was misconstrued. I'm moving on from her. I just cannot. I can't. I'm trying not to go in because I think she needs some help. I'm controlling my temper when it comes to MICHEALA and moving along. Okay. Dr. Pepper asked if they gave each other affirmations, and they said yes. And I think affirmations is important. Okay. My husband is still sleeping. When I go upstairs to wake the baby up and he doesn't say anything about my orange sweater, I'm going to be looking at him like, but he always does. Oh, that's a beautiful color on you. He compliments me and we give affirmations. And for me, my husband loves to cook, okay? So if he cooks something and I don't say anything about it or I don't taste it, he'll text me, did you taste the salmon, or did you taste what I made? And sometimes either I didn't eat dinner that night, or, I took it to lunch and I'll say, oh no, but I didn't eat last night, but I take it for lunch today. And so what I do, I take a picture. I say, oh my God, this was so delicious. It's the best salmon I ever had, because that's what he needs. Okay. So you need to learn what each other needs. He needs me to say, oh, the food was delicious, child. Just, oh my God, mine was lit. These little cute flowers. He said, well, he was in the supermarket the other day and he saw these little flowers and he bought them for me. No, he just bought me flowers for my birthday, remember? And so he shows me appreciation that way. And I, I love it. It was wonderful. I went shopping yesterday. I bought him some jeans because he was saying, he's been working from home a lot and he don't have a lot of jeans because he's not home. He, my husband wears suits and tie to work every day, but he's been home almost 2 years. So I went out and bought him a couple of pieces. And he's just, oh my God, honey, thank you. This is just so lovely. So giving affirmations, saying I love you every day. I love you no matter if you're angry, leaving out the door. Never leave without saying I love you. And I do that for my kids too. Dr. Pepper asks, so the marriage was mainly positive, but it's her blow-ups. They agree. And if you agree to work with her in the big thing and understand, no, go move on, Sam. Move along. Go ahead and talk about. Okay. Not that I'm encouraging adultery. And she said, Dr. Pepper said, this is powerful. Divorce means something to MICHEALA that it doesn't feel say to you. Okay, so that's important too. What does it mean to the person? She got closure and has nothing else to say. This is MICHEALA. And Zach said her door is open. Dr. Pepper said her husband taught her to hold hands when you're saying, so my marriage counselor teaches that. Hold hands, sit on the couch, hold hands, and look at each other and talk. Okay. And sometimes it's hard to do because I want to be bothered, but to save the marriage, to work on it. Dr. Pepper is saying try to do that. And I don't believe it. Zach now wants to talk. Let's go outside and talk. No, give it some time. Give it a week or 2 days. Dr. Pepper meets with Gil and Merla, and I told y'all he was a dusty. Dr. Pepper says, Gil, you call her negative Nancy. How does she need to change? Gil says more optimism, open-mindedness, and most of the time she goes in negative, but she enjoys it 90% of the time. He talked about her mood. Merla says, we are kind to each other. We don't put each other down. Merla used to lie because I have it right here. Why you lying, girl? This is why I know you're acting. You are definitely acting because you said it. You said it. You said I complain about things, but I don't complain about my husband. You've talked to him about being negative towards you. You don't like it. And he said that's his personality and he's not going to change. I have the screenshot, Merla. Don't play with me, girl. You know I will pull a screenshot out in a minute. And so somebody asked, how come we don't see a lot of action between them? Because they want them to be the good couple of this season. That's why we don't see too much of them, right? We don't see them having issues or working through their issues like the other couples. Okay. So she said we don't put each other down. And to me, it's a lie. So no, she says, I have made have they used the word love? And he was saying she loves this, she loves that. And have they used the word love? She says no, and she says I have made the choice to love my husband. Dr. Pepper says, so you do love him? She said no, and this is how I understood what she was saying. I understood what she was saying. She was saying, I make the choice every day to work on the marriage and eventually getting there. That's what I understood. But I know a lot of you guys took it as she was saying she loves her husband. Okay. And each day they grow. He said it prematurely in the past, and he don't want to say it prematurely. And I really appreciate that. And that comes with growth. When you realize I love you. The only man I've told I love you would not believe it. You're not going to believe that in my whole life, I have only told 2 men I love them. My college sweetheart and my husband. I don't remember if I told my child's father. I was 16. I don't remember, but I know I felt love, which is why I gave him my virginity. But I can say in my own mind that I've only told 2 men I love them, which is my childhood sweetheart and my now husband. Okay. Dr. Pepper says, so tough question. And then they do the flashback when Merla was drunk. and they talk about money, money, money. Thank you, Dr. Pepper. And she said, we need 20% down payment on a house, and she wants to have money for a nanny and trips, okay? He's not going to enable certain things. Dusty, you don't have no money. You don't have any money. So what the hell are you not going to enable? You don't have any money, girl. So what do you mean you're not going to enable? And this is what makes him a Dusty, not his income. Most of us, if we're 30s and 40s, can agree that most of our families and parents, they made $40,000 a year, and we grew up and we was just fine. What do you mean? You are not going to enable certain things when you don't have any money. She makes over $200,000 a year. What are you not going to enable? He's not going to enable certain things like her shopping. And Merlin says, but I have savings. If this is the way I was living, why should I stop shopping? And he wants, because he wants her to stop shopping. She said the way she lives is drastically different from how he wants her to live. The bum wants to live off her money. And that's what makes him a Dusty, not his income. She said in her recent relationship, whatever she wants, it was okay. Never know. Merla, why didn't you marry him? I forgot why she said they broke up. And she, in her voiceover, she said, you know, some things can change by decision day. This is what makes him a Dusty. She wants nanny. She wants to take trips. If the bum don't want to pay for a dog walker named Merla, do you think the bum is going to allow you to spend your money on a nanny? And he, instead of him dropping the dog off at doggy daycare, the bum took the dog because he didn't want to pay the money. I got to go. I got to come back. This is the girl. My hair was on fire. I had to check it. Brett and Ryan is in a dirt bike and she's about to faint. Brett, you just can't, baby. Okay, you just can't. I feel like Brett needs to just go to the nursing home and find her a rich man that's just gonna sit there all day and watch TV. I just can't with her. When Brett is in the, she said when Ryan is in his element, he's more enjoyable fishing. Him and his dad fish. They didn't spend a lot of time together because the dad was always working in the car. But one of the things they always made time for was fishing, and he really enjoyed it. And Ryan hates cars, race car. Brett said she had an idyllic childhood, and Ryan said he didn't think of marriage as a child. Ryan, can you please? He said he didn't think of marriage as a child because he didn't see that, and so that's why having pictures of children having a positive marriage is a good example. He spread the blanket out. Ryan, where did you get the blanket? That looks like a quilt though, so that's probably something your mom and grandmother made. They're red letters. I love the letters. I love Brett says, don't let boys make you feel sad. The right one will make you feel smile, make you smile. I love it. 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 Ryan, in his letter, he was writing, he says 2019 would be a tough year. His friend Andrew had a freak accident at work, and Ryan became really emotional, and I really appreciate seeing him being emotional. And Brett says she felt closer towards him because he was feeling emotional. And so journaling is good, y'all. Journaling, I'm telling you, pick up this journal on Amazon. Journaling is good, and it goes through the whole book of Psalms of praise and thanksgiving, so you could write your thoughts and ideas. This is what I did. This is what this book is. This book, Moments of Gratitude, is actually me journaling over the years. I have stuff written there over 20 some years ago. Okay. Ryan said he feels good. Not sure where the marriage is going, but he feels good. We're back over at Bao, and Johnny meets with Dr. Pepper. I love her burgundy one suit, and they talked and agreed to be on level 1. And Dr. Pepper said, "What does that mean? Be friends, okay?" Johnny said he has learned what he need to learn. Had a conversation with Bao best friend. This is why Dr. Pepper, I think she already knew what was going to say. And basically the friend is a thought, okay? The friend is jealous of Bao. That's what I got. And he was saying all kind of things to her. And do you feel like going with this and waking up to this every day, and this is how your life is going to be forever? And Bao breaks men down and build them back up into what she wants them to be. Bao, that sounds like you're trying to be a man, okay? And he said the conversation makes him not want to try. Now, the thing I noticed about Johnny's feelings change based on the situation he's in, Johnny. I just, Bao has had issues in the past, but it's not relevant now. She says, I've had issues in the past, but it's not relevant now. She feels betrayed by both her and Johnny. I would feel betrayed too. And then she starts crying, and now I feel bamboozled because I'm like, wait a minute. Was you like that, Bao? Were you like that? And that brings us back to that video I did about the Reddit thing on Reddit, okay? Dr. Pepper, Dr. Pepper basically said, well, you didn't give her time to give a rebuttal. Your friend Sarah told you what she wanted to say, but it didn't give her time to give a rebuttal. Okay, back to Rose and Rachel touched the subject. And basically what happened was the night Jose, Poppy, Mr. Tambourine locked her out of the house. She called the ex-boyfriend, but I thought she said she didn't have her phone, so I'm a little bit confused about that. Okay, Bao and Johnny at dinner meeting. She asked about how was the meeting with Dr. Pepper, and here she goes leading again, and I just don't understand. And Bao says there's certain reasons she doesn't share things with her best friend because her best friend is negative, and she wouldn't be my best friend if you can't trust your best friend with stuff. And basically what I said about the friend said, do you want to live with this forever? So that means she might want Johnny for herself. And then he said, I could say some things that's very damaging. And then Bao says, the ball is in your court, Johnny. And Johnny says, see, why you always say that to make me feel like I am the bad guy and the blame game, the ball is in your court. And so then he walks out and she said, okay, well, I'll drink the liquor and the food is mine. And she said, back to the yoga pants. Back to Brett and Ryan came to her place, and when she wanted to show him pictures, but 10 minutes before they got there, she got a text from one of her friends. I guarantee it's a pretty girl, real pretty, soft, feminine girl, that we talked about this yesterday. Ryan was matched with one of her friends. He said it's not active. And she said, well, I was matched. I must say, and I realized that in this conversation, Brett has been a total lady this whole time. Very calm, very remind me of but I've never seen her gone off. Okay, she's always been very calm, cool, and collected. Probably has to do with her because she's a coach and all of those things. Okay, Ryan said, okay, he's leaving. He talks to the producer and he's saying, I didn't enable it. And so the producer says, send it to her. He sent her the text. And basically, when the text came in, Brett said, this mother effer is texting me. And I'm like, Brett, I just thought that you were being really, really nice and never go off, Brett. Can I just enjoy my moment? And basically, that was it. And then they show us what's going to happen next week. And I'm going to come back and talk about what's happening next week because the dust is acting up next week. Let me know what you think. I absolutely love you. I adore you. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your support. Remember, November 1st begins NaNoWriMo for me, so I'm going to be a little bit MIA, but you have lots of videos to watch. I love you. Thank you for those reviews on Amazon. Thank you for picking up these books. I appreciate everything you've done. Thank you for showing me love with my books. I got to go, girl. I got to go. The Audible book of 10 Years a Girlfriend is available on Amazon. I want to know what you guys think about the Audible book, okay? Love you. Bye.